here's Mr. Gilmore. He's going to speak about co-occurring disorders.
I am also a past chair of the coalition many years ago, so I'm fairly familiar with what you guys are doing. I had asked Jim to come over and talk to you guys about some other things that are going on, but I had to sing them like separate. So he said, "Oh, good, you can do that, but we have to talk about co-occurring disorders too." So I'll talk about co-occurring disorders first. I'm not sure. Things have changed a lot since we first started talking about dual diagnosis and now co-occurring disorders. But just kind of maybe to get a definition, co-occurring disorders is where you have a substance abuse disorder, either abuse or dependency, and a concurrent mental health, one or more concurrent mental health disorders. These are happening at the same time, comorbid, as some folks might say. They are both primary. Historically, in treatment, on the substance abuse side, if you had a mental health disorder, it was kind of like, well, we really can't help you. You need to go see those people over at mental health. There's not a whole lot we can do for you until you get that worked out. And when someone would go to mental health, they would say, well, first they try to figure out what came first. Did the substance abuse disorder come first, and then there's these related drug problems or mental health problems? Or did you have a mental health problem which then you were trying to self-medicate or somehow got you involved in drugs? If the latter was the case, well, then maybe we can help you. But if it was the former, if you were using drugs and you have mental health issues as a result, there's not a whole lot we can do for you. You need to go back and talk to those people at substance abuse. So I see some old-timers in the room that probably experienced that ping-pong process, being pushed around from place to place. Over the years, we've really tried to, address, actually in the early 90s, we kind of got the county and folks to recognize that co-occurring disorders, which we call dual diagnosis then, was actually something that we were all dealing with. Because nobody really, everybody knew, but nobody really wanted to talk about it. There were regulations on both sides that said you can't work with people with mental health disorders, you can't work with people on medication, you can't do this, you can't do that. We did it anyway, some of us, just because, this is the population we're serving. And as a result of like the SAMI task force and some other things, I think folks now recognize and actually admit that co-occurring disorders is real. It's something that has to be addressed, and Lee is a good representative of that. He is the co-occurring, I'm not sure the exact title, but the coordinator for the SAC 8 area. So mental health has certainly recognized that co-occurring disorders exist, and they have made some attempt to address that issue. Substance abuse, on the other hand, has kind of tried to address it in fits and starts. I'm afraid that for some of us, we're still kind of back at that place where, what we do is substance abuse treatment, and if you've got a mental health problem, you need to go see somebody else. And I don't think that at this day and age, that's a really wise position. One of the things that we have found, we do a lot of research to practice projects with the RAND Corporation and a couple other folks. And one of our early projects that we did, we looked at everybody that was coming through our doors, just a really brief screener. And 49% of the people who came into our outpatient process had at least one co-occurring disorder besides their substance abuse. That's half. If you look at our residential treatment facilities today, this was probably 10 years ago. If you look at our facilities today, at least half to 60% of the folks that we see have some level of co-occurring disorder. When we talk about co-occurring disorders and mental health conditions, there's a lot of confusion. Mental health addresses what they call target population. Axis 1 disorders, schizophrenia, bipolar, and depression. you'd be kind of hard pressed to get them to deal with anything.